Hello again. This is lesson 6. We're going to look at applying the law of cosines. In the last lesson we had the law of sines. Now it's going to be the law of cosines, another neat trick for solving triangles. We've got 3 different law of cosines formulas listed right here. If triangle ABC has sides of length A, B, and C as shown, then A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cosine of A. Or rearrange the letters, etc. So kind of the idea to keep in mind here is that I've got a side, and I'm looking for that the square of the side's length is equal to the other two sides added together minus 2 times the other two sides multiplied together times the cosine of the angle opposite the side that I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm looking for side A. I'm taking the cosine of A and mixing B and C in the middle. If I'm looking for side B, then I mix sides A and C in here and take the cosine of angle B. Finally, at the end, if I'm looking for side C, we'll take the cosine of C, the angle C that is, and put the A's and B's side lengths together in the middle. So which one do we pick out? It just depends on the triangle. Now, why have this? Well, this law of cosines works in a couple of different scenarios. It's going to work in the side angle side scenario, and it's also going to work in the side 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 scenario. The idea with both of those being I can't use the law of sines because in order to use the law of sines, I always need to know an angle that matches a side that's opposite. Okay, if that's the case, I could use it, but side angle side, well, side angle side, if I were to do these right here, side angle side, I don't know the opposite angle or side for any of those measurements. So there's got to be some other way to do it. Side, 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 same deal. I don't know any of the angles opposite, so it's got to be some other way. That other way is the law of cosines. To put it to work, we're going to solve this triangle ABC with side A is 11, side C is 14, side angle B is 34 degrees. So that's the side angle side scenario. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to solve for the third side length first, which is side B. Okay. To find side B, I'm going to use the second of my 3 laws of cosines, and it'll be right here. B squared is going to equal A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C times the cosine of B. All right, so once I figure out which formula to use, it's just a matter of putting the numbers in the right spot. B squared is what we're going to solve for. That equals A squared. Well, A is 11. We're going to square that. And then we're going to square 14. And then we're going to subtract whatever we get when we take 2 times 11 times 14 times the cosine of the given angle, which is 34 degrees. Okay. This big expression can be typed into the calculator if you do so correctly. So we're going to type that in. 11 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 11 times 14 times the cosine of 34. Close that parentheses. I hit enter. So I get 61.66. Okay. That's what B squared is equal to. So B squared equals 61.66, okay? But I don't want B squared, I want B, the actual side length. So last step would be to take the square root of that. Let's take the square root of the previous answer, hit enter. We get about 7.85. So B is approximately 7.85. Now, as we solve this triangle, we now have all 3 sides. We got to figure out all 3 angles. Well, once you use the law of cosines once, okay, using the law of cosines once gives you now a side and an angle that are opposite each other. And if that's the case, we're going to use the law of sines to find the other 2 angles. Show what I mean. We're going to use the sine of 34 is to 7.85. And that equals the sine of angle A over 11. Okay, we can even put the other one in here. We're going to figure out what it is anyway, so I'll write it. And we're going to figure out that the sine of C compared to 14. Okay, so we're going to solve for A and C using cross multiply and divide with the law of sines. So let's find side A. Cross multiply and divide. We're going to take 11 times the sine of 34. And we're going to divide that by 7.85. We get a decimal. Remember, to solve for the angle, we have to take the arc sine of that. So the arc sine of our decimal number, and we get about 51.59. So A is about 51.59 degrees. Now we could use the law of sines to figure out the third angle, or I suppose we could just subtract, right? Now that we know two angles, we could find the third angle using subtraction. If we take 180 minus 34, we'll subtract here, we'll even subtract the 51 number. 180 minus 51 minus 34 is 94.41, okay? So angle C, about 94.41 degrees. So that's all three sides and all three angles. We've solved the triangle starting with the law of cosines first, finishing it with the law of sines.